दीवारों पर लगे ये फिल्म पोस्टर, और वो भी इतने।
ये दोस्ती हम नहीं छोड़ेंगे, छोड़ेंगे हम नगार तेरे साथ।
शब्दों का उच्चारण विदेश में पली बड़ी भारतीय नई पीढ़ी का लगता है, लेकिन ये हैं ऑटवा में पले बड़े डेविड ट्रैटल्स, जिन्होंने पिछले एक दशक में इतना भारत भ्रमण किया है कि हम में से बहुत से भारतीयों ने ऐसा करने का सिर्फ सोचा होगा।
It was about 15 years ago, and I had a close friend, and we decided that what we wanted to do was to cycle to India. It was a dream. So we started in Turkey, and we got to India, and we just kept going. So the whole thing was not planned. We just had this idea that we wanted to get to India. We crossed from Pakistan at the border in Atari, and we headed straight for Delhi.
भारत भ्रमण, और वो भी एटलस साइकिल पर।
You know, it's not like professional cycling. The reason I do this is to meet people, so I'm not in a race. I get on the bicycle, and instead of thinking about how far and how fast, I'm thinking about who can I meet next, who's interesting. And, you know, India is just overfull with things to look at. So when I go, I'm not thinking about anything to do with cycling or how fast and far. I'm just thinking about the people that I'm going to meet along the way. So it's a perfect way to meet people. I mean, you're going at the kind of a right pace, you're independent, so you stop when you feel hungry, and when you feel tired, you stay there for the night. But people are so welcoming and inclusive there that the whole time it's just like a very positive experience. And I think I find that on the bicycle in general, wherever I go, that the bicycle forms its own dignity with the people that you meet. So like kids like bicycles, fathers had a bike, mothers have a son out there who's cycling. So it's kind of a common language, and whereas if I have a camera, sometimes that sets people off a bit.
कलकत्ता 15 मिलियन से अधिक जनसंख्या का भारत तीसरा सबसे बड़ा मेट्रोपॉलिटन। यहाँ के मुस्लिम मोहल्ले इकबालपुर में बसे परिवार शानू बेगम एवं उनकी दो जुड़वा बेटियों शानू बेबी एवं शकीला बेबी की कहानी को कैमरा में बंद करते समय डेविड को ये मालूम नहीं था कि उनकी तस्वीरें इन चेहरों को एक नया आयाम देंगी।
Everything you start at first begins as an idea, and you think, oh, well, women boxing, well, this is interesting because it's quite a man's place. And so I met them, and I thought, well, maybe I'll spend three or 4 days tops. So I sent a one-line email to a magazine here, Elle, and I said, are you interested in women boxing, thinking nothing would happen? They said, yes. So I thought, okay. After 4 days, I thought, well, this is really quite a story. And then after about 2 weeks, I think I found out that they were Muslim, which it's another layer of difficulty that women have to deal with. And then after about 6 weeks, I just started falling in love with Calcutta. It got more complicated because they said they wanted a job. And I said, well, you know, can you just get a job? And they said, no, it's not quite that easy. We have to go through several levels of progression. And so if we box and we win a title, then we'll be champion. That will be our label. People will respect us. We'll be able to get a job because we're champion, then we can help our families out. So it's the age-old story of boxing, you know, it's kind of a way out, and often it's too expensive to sign up for a college course or to take something like computer skills or whatever. So this is something that's free and it's available. And boxing has quite a tradition in India, especially in Kolkata, and particularly among that neighborhood of Kolkata, Ekbalpur. When I take photographs, I'm not interested in really what people are doing, but how they're doing it. So I didn't really want to know about them boxing, but I wanted to know about their lives. And as I got to know the families, I just found them to be an extraordinary group of people that were really open and welcoming. You know, Atiti Devo Bhava, which is, you know, the guest is God. I was always welcome. And I think I just kept hanging around. Every day I would go to the boxing ring. And then eventually I got invited to the homes, and there'd be a special celebration going on. And I just kept hanging around, and gradually they accepted me as somebody who was like a pest with a camera who would show up every day. I think that you know, they have the same difficulties that women boxing here would. It's like a man's place, and it's not accepted as a woman's sport. But gradually they've come to work through a number of challenges, and I think they've already succeeded in my eyes. You know, they've worked through a number of levels. They don't go around saying, you know, I'm woman, hear me roar, I'm trying to be a boxer. They're just doing something that they believe in, and as they go along, it's their process that is forming them. And so they're gradually waking up to the fact that they're doing something that's a little bit different. And because of this, they will be successful. They don't have to be champions. They've already done all.
15 साल पुरानी दिल्ली डेविड को आज भी अच्छे से याद है।
I remember what everybody remembers when they first go to India, which is the culture. It's just so incredibly different. And it's so apparent, right? Everywhere you look, there's something happening. There's always something going on. I think I wrote a note home and I said, I feel like my eyes are too small here. Like I want to make them bigger because there's too much going on for me. And it's like when you talk to your mother and you've been to like a huge store and you go, well, it was this long and this wide and it's bigger than anything and it's louder and it's noisier and there's more joy and it's just, you feel incredibly vital. So it's everything all at once. India is still largely agrarian. Most people still live in villages. Perhaps somebody said 68% of the population. So that aspect hasn't changed that much. But I think what I've noticed is the feeling I have when I go hasn't changed for me. And so that's what I like about it. It must be difficult for people to move from India to here and try and figure out how to be part of a community, how to lead a life, how to get recognized for the education you have and the skills you have. But most of all, I think it's just so open and inclusive there that I think here it's a little bit different. So it must be hard for people to come here.
डेविड भारत से कितना प्यार करते हैं इसका प्रमाण उनकी मुफ्त में दी जाने वाली वर्कशॉप्स से साफ जाहिर होता है।
I've been doing some photo clinics with youth in Calcutta. I collected cameras from people here in Toronto because they don't need their SLRs anymore. So I brought about 40 cameras there, and Kodak Canada generously gave me about 80 rolls of film, and we did a little 20-day workshop with the youth, and it was wonderful. So I'd like to keep doing that. It keeps me interested in photography and keeps me asking questions because they have great questions.
इस प्रेरणा भरे अभिप्रेरक कार्य के लिए डेविड को हम सब की ओर से बधाई हो।